11th, 2026 to order. Present this evening are Kira Vath, Andrew Meow, Kelly McCarthy, Paige McMahon, Carol Marsh, and Richard Morangel. I'm Steve Sally. I'll be acting as chairperson. And first on the agenda, we have, good evening, Medford.
Good evening.
Good evening. We have 47 Main Street, Unit 1B, a new sign for Cape Cod Chokers. And I assume that's you?
That's me.
Yeah. If you'd like to just tell the committee a little bit about how you arrived at the design of the sign and that sort of thing.
Sure. I'm an artist. It's an abstract artwork of Cape Cod that I did about 10 years ago. So it's been my logo for 10 years. It's been in boutiques across the country from Maine to Maui, so it's pretty well known. So it became my logo. And so that's kind of, it's very colorful. And we print it on everything from stickers to apparel and my sign.
And so that's gonna be, if I'm looking at the building, 47B is to my right. Is that correct? If I'm standing looking at the
Yes.
building across the street there, and the sign will project out over the sidewalk at the far right corner, it looks like?
Yes.
Yeah, and then you have another little round sign, is that just temporary?
Yes.
Yeah, and it looks like there's no lighting involved for the sign itself.
Correct.
Does anybody else have any
So
questions?
that's just one sign, double faced, I assume?
Yes.
It looks very nice.
Thank
I like
you.
all your colors.
Thank
It's
you.
pretty.
Yeah, it is pretty.
Very
It's-
pretty.
It's the same on the other side?
Yes.
Oh.
And that's the actual bracket that will hold it?
Yes.
Nice.
What does chokers mean?
It's a short necklace. So we actually started with, it's called Cape Cod Choker. It's a trademarked necklace, and it was a pearl on leather. It went viral 10 years ago. It was just one of those crazy things. And I was a school teacher at the charter school, and now I'm here.
But you're saying that you
Like
do
the
it,
Cape Cod bracelet?
Yes, exactly.
so now you're doing graphic design or?
Yes, it's one of those things where it was just a necklace, and the logo was on the packaging, and then people wanted it on a bag, and then a sticker, and clothing.
Oh, how
So it
funny.
just kind of evolved, and it was all based around this image.
So do you have other designs?
Do you
I
have
do,
it?
yes, I do. Every year I do different designs. So this year we did at 1776 because of the 250th anniversary. We did a new, like a line art. I have lots of different art. So I'll often start with a sticker, and then we'll see how well it does, and then it'll end up on a trinket bowl or a wristlet or a clothing. So every year we add something to it, but the abstract has always been kind of the basic, consistent piece throughout the product line.
I had just noticed the windows being full the other day, so are you open now?
Yes, we had our
Okay.
grand opening 2 weekends ago.
Okay. I just noticed the other day I went by, I'm like, oh, there's something in there now. Because there obviously was no signs, I'm like, the windows are full. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
It was a very complete submission, particularly the color samples. I know you went to trouble for that.
I know, I spent some time
Yeah,
with
no,
Benjamin Moore, because obviously there's lots of colors, so
Yeah,
they
yeah,
are very
yeah.
helpful. We tried to find the most prominent ones.
Yeah.
Do you have a choker with you?
I don't have the original one, but I have a couple on, so we make them. I have 8 girls who work for me. They're all in, 2 are retired teachers. They don't make the jewelry, they just help with the store. And then I have 6 college girls, and I teach them all how to do beadwork and wire
Uh-huh.
work. Yeah,
Yeah,
so we
nice.
do that in the shop. So this one I have one. So it's just pearls.
Yeah.
The youngins like them. The college girls like them. But they're for anyone.
Are there any other questions or comments?
No.
I love your logo.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful.
Looks beautiful.
I know, it's a winner.
Would someone like to make the motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the signage for Cape Cod Chokers on, where is it on Main Street?
47 Main Street.
Thank you, 47 Main Street, as proposed.
Second.
Second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Yay.
Motion passes unanimously. This evening, there's a tiny problem with the paperwork. We're missing the official approval sheet that you would sign. So the thing to do is go into the building department. They'll have this, on the video and on the record, and at that point you can just sign the approval sheet. It's approved as submitted.
Okay,
And
Yeah,
then you'll sign it after
Yeah.
she does.
yeah,
okay. I'll do that tomorrow. Yes. okay.
very good.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
guys.
Yeah.
Have a good night. You too.
Yeah.
Do you want us to at least sign this? Or we'll approve it?
We can put it on there. That's a good idea. We can all sign this thing, I guess.
Yeah, at least say that we all approve.
Yeah, I'm gonna just note approved as submitted.
Yeah.
When there are new businesses, does the chamber?
There was a party, there was already a grand opening party that the chamber hosted for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Did you get an invite?
I didn't get it, no.
And so they'll pass this down for you and Andrew.
Well, you're the VIP, you know.
Did they have hors d'oeuvres?
But I think if you were either on the email and distribution list from the chamber, you would have gotten it too.
Yeah, I should have missed it.
But it was a chamber invite, not a town invite.
If the committee and the audience are in agreement, I think it would be good to consider the approval of the minutes from May 28th. And that way we won't forget
Not yet.
at the
Yeah,
end
just
of the
understand,
meeting.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that fine with everybody? Yeah. I wasn't here, so I will,
I need to sign.
And I wasn't here.
okay, so those who were here, let's see, we do have, we do have 3 people that were here, right? You were
I was
here,
here.
okay, so we have a quorum.
It looks like it's on my name right.
Good. Pens.
You need a pen?
Yes, thank you.
Could have used my pen.
I like that at the bank.
Now, what about this pen? Do you
I thought
prefer?
I thought
over
she,
there?
Here, let me,
I thought you wanted this one. That's yours, isn't it?
No, is it?
Mine?
they're
I
both
don't
the
know.
same,
It
they
could
look
be.
like they're both similar.
No, this is
Thank you, Richard.
Roger's watch. and Yours is what?
Cape Cod 5?
Sure,
I don't go to
It'd be like
anyone.
when they sign things, each page they should use a different pen.
And so they can probably be raffled off.
Yeah, right?
The only thing I
Sold
would
at a
note
high,
is
for
this-
eBay.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. The only thing I would note is just that from the Manifest Yoga, I don't know that it says there was a sign in the back. I don't know if we need to count that, just to point it out. There's one on the front, there's one on the
No,
windows,
the
right?
one, they didn't say anything about the.
I thought there was one on the back. No, the back
Yeah,
entrance?
there's one facing the
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
there's one facing the front, and there were 2 windows.
Right, but I don't think it says one on the back, so I didn't know if we wanted to put that in there.
Oh,
Did I miss it? Maybe I did.
No,
Oh, no, it's okay, on the rear of the building. Okay, never mind.
3 signs.
Nope, it says that, never mind.
Windows.
I corrected myself.
Consider to just the balance. So one side of the window.
These are quite detailed minutes,
Nice job, Jennifer.
quite detailed.
She always does
She's
that.
always,
That's because she probably knows how to type.
I'm sure.
I'm sure, pretty sure she does. Know how to type.
no doubt about that.
Better than I can write, actually.
Instead of the,
I make typos in my handwriting.
instead of the unpacked method. I think they're teaching
Old
kids.
school.
I think they're teaching kids how to type more, that they're on these keypads than they did when I was
Yeah,
in
maybe.
high school. Not too many people had typewriters.
I'm okay with the minutes, I don't know about anybody else.
You good?
Yeah, they look good to me.
Okay.
Would it be appropriate to review the George, Missouri summary of that meeting? Because it really talks about the same thing that our minutes here are talking about.
Yeah, I shared the minutes with him so that he would be sure to have everything I had and vice versa.
We have the summary here.
Yeah.
Right, but we're just approving just these minutes, not George's.
Has
We're
not- we're
everybody?
not approving George's.
I think Carol
Okay.
is still.
Just these
looking.
minutes. Okay.
So I leave it to.
Oh, okay. I make a motion to approve the minutes from the Architectural Review Committee of Thursday, May 28th, 2026. Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
The minutes are approved. And now we come to the continued review of the Governor Prince redevelopment plans. If the committee agrees that, I know Joy Cumming is here, I believe, to address this, and perhaps it would be nice if we heard what you have to say at the beginning.
the opportunity, but I didn't come to make a presentation.
Oh, okay.
I just heard that it was being presented tonight,
Oh, okay.
so.
Well,
if
perhaps
there are-
you'll comment later.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that
I
would be
I
good.
was not here, so
Yes,
I'll leave it to someone else on the committee to open the discussion.
thank you.
I wonder whether it would be appropriate to give Joy a copy of the George,
Yeah.
Missouri summary.
Certainly.
Here, I have one.
No, we have extra.
Yeah,
Oh, of which?
yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Grab me one,
Do you
Joy.
want,
I don't have
do
any.
you want to share
I need
George's
two.
and
You want to?
extras?
Yeah, one for,
Yeah, we have plenty of extras in
Yeah,
here.
just hold on 1 second.
Do we have drawings for Joy?
thank you for your call. I left you a text message, I hope you saw that.
Yeah, I did.
I'm gonna run
I
out
tried to reach you, but didn't when you were coming back.
Yeah.
This is what you have,
That's
correct?
Wednesday. Yeah.
You have this?
No, she has-
Yeah, this is our comments so far.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And this is, and can she have the, is it okay to
Steve,
take the
do we
minutes?
have a?
I'm sorry, I
another
gave
set
you the
of
wrong thing.
Drawings at all?
Was that the wrong thing? Yeah.
I have a set in the car I could run out and get and bring in for Joy.
Yeah, this is what I need two copies of
If
this.
it becomes necessary, we have some here
Yeah,
that Paige
these are mine.
has in
Anyway.
the 11 by
I'll
17.
be talking to you.
If you think you'd like to do that.
Joy, have you
certainly.
seen any of the drawings or design work or elevations or?
Not the most recent ones, and that's what I was very interested in seeing.
Well, in that case, maybe Richard can get his. We just have this 11 by 17 set.
Yeah, let me go grab it.
Thank you.
I have this set.
Okay, and Kira has her 11 by 17s. Well, he's doing that. I just had one question about the opening sentence in the
In George.
comments where it talks about the site plan review committee, and I found that confusing.
Yes.
I assume that that's a typo, unless someone can inform me otherwise.
Why do you think it's a typo?
Because it's irrelevant to the rest of the paragraph.
And it's supposed to be from the Architectural Review Committee.
Correct.
And I noticed the same thing in the email, he sent it and addressed us as the site plan review committee when he sent it to us.
Yeah, I was just wondering about it. It makes no difference.
May I suggest that I'll put edits, track edits on his memo that you make and send it to him and he can.
Thank you.
Perfect, perfect.
Well, while people review this, I did have a few comments on George Missouri's summary. It's on the second page, where it says specify 5.5 reveal throughout development for the shingles. I think Rich said 5.5, which I agreed on.
Not sure what I
Then the next line, which is,
When everything else.
I question that long facade should be broken up with the use of wainscoting and other trim measures. I actually disagreed with that. I think that's a cheap way of doing it.
I agree. I
Yeah.
don't agree adding the trims like that.
Does not wainscoting refer to, interior paneling in a room as opposed to an exterior application?
Yep,
Can you tell me where exactly you are?
on the second page,
Yeah.
and down around, a little bit below the,
I think it's the fourth bullet on the second page.
Yes.
long facade should be broken up with the use of wainscoting and other measures, trim measures. Disagree with
There's a few
that.
things in there.
And then the next item, next
I
bullet,
don't know if she's caught up with you yet.
This is great.
Just give Jennifer a minute.
So what would you like it to stay and say? Long facade should be broken up with,
For a second.
leave it as broken up,
yep.
okay.
Well, hold on.
I would say it's, broken up into smaller, more.
Smaller areas?
Portions or smaller.
I think the way Jennifer said it here, maybe like building 2 has large expanses of siding which need some breaking up, some changes in the surface dimension would add interest. Is that what you
Yeah,
kind of want to say?
that'd be fine.
And to break up the scale. I think you put it perfectly in your
In the minutes.
minutes. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's kind of the 5th paragraph that you have.
Multitasking moment.
Kelly, which paragraph are you looking at?
On our
I'm
minutes.
sorry, on our minutes. It was the 5th one down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where she says building has 2 large expanses of siding.
Okay, right there.
Kelly, give me a hint where that was.
So that again, on the minutes, it's the 5th paragraph down, where it starts with Mr. Morangel. Said he felt that buildings 1.
On page 2,
This is yours.
building 2. Should we mention building 2 or not? Just say the large expensive side.
I think a large expense, I don't think we have to necessarily say, we feel that way on all the buildings, right? Doesn't matter whether it's 1 or 2, so I think we just say the large
A
expense.
lot of them are smaller, so it doesn't really matter as much.
Right,
yeah.
that's what I do it here.
It must be just, yeah.
Thank you.
This was the original scale. This was the original scale. This is.
Are you caught up so we can go on to the next item?
No, just a second.
Andrew, on,
Similar, you know, was presented.
There's no name, but we're aware of it. Let's get organized with the.
Next one,
edits.
so you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next item following that bullet.
Size stuff.
Yeah.
We have not seen the proposed building color. It may be useful to divide spaces with trim and color variations. Again, that's a really cheap way of doing it. I do not agree with that. So I think we should just eliminate this altogether and just keep to what you already pad. Jennifer?
I like that too. I think design should work in black and white, color secondary,
Okay, I see,
right? I mean, it just should work on its own.
Anybody know who this
that's
gentleman
Bruce
is?
from the Historic Commission, I think. Just say what you do. Should we delete that and
Yes.
replace? Okay, would you say it again for me?
So,
Divide spaces.
so
The same thing that Kelly just showed you
just,
from your minutes.
so I don't know if that's in there, that was me just speaking. We have not seen the proposed building, so he does not want this in here, or we agree that this is sort of, because color is sort of irrelevant, the design should work in black and white.
Right, okay.
And just as a thought to you, we'll probably have to get rid of these bullet points at his opening. Because
Okay.
he speaks of color, and makes information, pick up one, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry.
Those are all the comments I had about George McGurry's memo, but I have some other information that came from Peter Haig after her meeting with Assistant Town Planner Elizabeth. So after people review these comments from George, maybe I can show you those images.
Sure.
We have a gentleman joining us on Zoom. Would the committee like to hear what he has to say at this time?
Sure.
Go ahead, sir. Identify yourself, please.
You're on mute.
Thank you very much. My name is Bruce Taub. I am a member of the Town Historic Commission. And the commission last evening was considering the proposal as we've seen it and authorized me by a unanimous vote to ask to read into the minutes the following statement, which I will then send to you by some manner or other. The Orleans Historic Commission advises the Architectural Review Committee that the proposal for 66 and 76 Route 6A appears incompatible with the streetscape and would be detrimental to the character of the immediate area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you don't mind, I'll stay on to hear Ms. Cummings' comments.
Very good.
Please. I had another question, just, and again, maybe we did we like the increased, on the third bullet here on the top, from the increased roof pitch on building 2? Did we think that that was something that we wanted, an increased roof pitch?
I will comment about that. I would say that that's not going to help building 2. It's just going to make it taller and more pointy.
Right, yeah.
There are a number of nice flat roofs. Captain Heman Smith House by the Goose Hummock Shop is a notable one where the roof is almost perfectly flat. So I don't think that that's going to add to the Cape Cod feeling. But that's my comment.
That's okay.
I think we were talking about not so much to increase the height, but to bring that roof line down from the third floor to the second and have it come up through. We were talking about the building over near Salon 16. I drove by there afterwards, and they use that technique where they have an eave height, either at the first or second floor, that has a false little rake trim that comes up. But it hasn't raised it's a steep pitch, but it hasn't raised the roof height. It's kind of a dummy roof that pretends to start at a lower height and come up to that upper height.
That makes sense. I just think we have to figure out how to sort of rephrase that so that it's not saying an increased roof pitch then, because we don't want to say really. Is that true?
Use of a steeper roof without increasing in height of the building. You know, it doesn't increase the height, but it puts steeper roof pitches within that limit.
I would agree with Richard. I would also say that one of the problems that these types of project face is no attention is given to refining the original schematic concept by deciding, okay, we can we could go with a little less ceiling height, or even the way the rafters sit. In this case, it's probably gonna be truss. That's gonna sit up on top.
Yeah.
There are many, many subtle ways that, each one a tiny increment that can decrease the mass, and it's part of the job, as I would say.
Like a clip.
Are you good with that, Jennifer?
No.
I know, that's why
Can you tell me exactly where you are and exactly what you were saying?
So in we're on George's, kind of what
Summer.
yeah, it says, consider increased roof pitch on building 2.
I don't see that.
That's the very top of the
At
page.
the top of the page.
Let me see. Yes.
So you want to take the performance and this is increased roof goes down. Consider increased roof pitch.
So what are we changing it to? Consider.
So how did you want that to, maybe you can clarify that roof pitch? What are we
I don't know that we were
saying?
specific to building 2, but that seemed to be the one that had the flatter hipped roof elements on it, where we were concerned about the roof pitch being so shallow that they could try to incorporate a steeper roof pitch without an increase in height on the ridge that's there. It's a design problem that would have to be dealt with them since they're the designers. But going back to what Steve said, it's like I
Building
said,
2 has quite a wide soffit, quite an overhang, it looks to me, right? So, that being said, it would appear that the soffit juts out at the top of the wall. And an example of what Rich is saying would be to drop the soffit level down and allow the rafter to start at a lower point, which would increase the pitch. Is that?
Joy, is that there's a building there that has 2 hip roofs on it. It's further deeper into that set.
These are hip roofs?
We're looking at
Yeah, it could
building
be that one,
building
Yeah.
front
2.
elevation.
See, this comes out, right?
Yeah, the overhang
Yeah,
there.
so if I was to sketch that out for you, right, what you would be seeing is, here's the soffit, and here's the roof going up, and the wall starts here.
Yeah.
Yep, so you could refine that by having the top of the walls up here, having the soffit down here, given that you don't screw up your windows, and then you could go up steeper and reach the same point.
So the soffit is actually, so are you calling this the, what is
Yeah,
this,
that's,
the soffit?
this flat piece here.
So the soffit is starting lower.
You start the soffit lower.
Soffit lower to
but-
give it the perception of a, high, I know, I'm just trying to figure out how to help Jennifer.
Well, it's just a refinement, this, you know,
Right,
this,
but she doesn't have a drawing.
no, so we didn't, we didn't go any first.
So are we
You
to
could say,
drop,
you could say that, they're talking about it. You could, they could, that would be a refinement, a suggestion that would accomplish what I think was the intent.
yeah, that, I think that should be misread. No?
Yeah, in other words, we don't want to start here
Here and go,
and go up.
well, exactly. So if you started the soffit lower on the building, you would give the perception of having a higher steep.
You could subtly increase it now. Again, people say, what's the point of that? You're only gonna gain.
So you're not going any higher,
The
just
perception of height.
perception, yes, yes.
Okay.
We'll get there, Jennifer. And, all right, so are we, is everyone okay with that now?
On
I think,
the top of page.
yeah, with that point,
Yeah,
fine.
we can keep going, I just wanted to clarify that point, okay. I had one other one too. So consider the adding an architectural folly element. So the only thing I considered, questions on that one is when we say such as a tower or a cupola as examples, again, that's to me making the building look larger, and is that what we want? Is that the folly we would go for?
It doesn't make the building look taller. And we looked at the renderings that he did it actually breaks up everything.
Okay,
And those don't count as total height, if it's a cupola, a tower, and so forth, you know.
But they were still under the height limits.
if they were under the height
Yeah.
limits. Okay, I just wanted to say, make it clear that it wasn't
Yeah.
going on
No,
top
we're
of the
not
tower.
looking
I don't think
for-
you're allowed to go higher than cupolas. You're allowed to go higher than cupolas.
Yeah, I think you're allowed certain amount,
You know,
3 feet.
but do you
Yeah,
want
I
to, I
don't
guess, is the question.
You're certainly allowed to go higher.
You have to be careful sometimes just adding stupid things on a building to make it
Well,
look,
you know, I mean,
to
but
make
what-
it look cute.
Right, but what we consider
Right.
stupid and what somebody
It is
else
a
does is
little
very, can be very
Yeah.
subjective.
It's
Well,
like-
if it's big enough, it could be like a amenity where people could go up and they'd be able to look out over Town Cove and possibly see all the way in the ocean.
Yeah. I think Peter gave a good example on the drawings he brought in that you guys. It was stuff that you guys had worked on that
This is
site.
how Peter has met with Elizabeth
And he
Jenkins.
showed some retail space and towers
He
and
made-
things.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Breaking up.
That's where we mentioned
why we didn't start
architectural
local.
folly
I know, right?
was
I don't know why I don't
something.
Oh, I know,
What
actually,
is it?
actually,
John
because
Cummings
it was
and Peter
the
worked on it.
financials, it was the finances of who they had to work
In fact,
with.
they showed, you know,
No, I
they showed
remember. Yep.
what you and Peter and John Kelsey worked and Peter showed the other day.
Yes.
And the
Yep.
committee loved to see.
Yep.
These 3 buildings are now this,
Right,
so it allowed for a lot of smaller units.
Yep.
You see, this is what Peter Haig showed Elizabeth Jenkins. Elizabeth Jenkins really liked it, so you all should take a look at it because.
Yeah,
That
there's
oh,
just
good,
a
you
lot of
have,
items that we're looking at.
right.
where'd those come from, Andrew? Were they
Was
made?
this last week?
This is from the meeting.
Yes, but
Right.
those smaller
Right.
prints, they were
I
made.
printed it.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Peter
very
sent
good.
it to me
Oh, very
electronically.
nice. No, I thought that was very nice. But even on Main Street, right, it's like when they change the buildings, it doesn't look so expansive, and they make them like individual buildings with their own details, and still be cohesive.
You see, that one big building that's just all broken up because of the details allowed for all those smaller buildings on the side, you know, without loss of units.
I think the historical committee, historic district,
No, it
or,
doesn't.
The Historical Commission.
yeah, I mean, that was point on, I think, about the sense of scale and.
So we can add to this, but I mean, does anyone have any other comments on what George has here?
Well, I'm
So we
confused
can-
because
Is anybody else?
That's not on that drawing.
it's not on that.
That was a drawing done for some of the projects.
Okay, that's why we're confused.
Well, I mean, I think we
I
can,
think that's enough.
I think we can still add, but I think just for Jennifer's sake, I think it'd be helpful
Yes.
to know, to stick to what she already has, so we can get through one thing at a time.
What I did wonder is, based
This one
on
doesn't.
Peter's, what he presented, there was talk about all those varying roof heights and how it really broke up the building facade. And I'm not sure George
Capture that.
captures the
No.
idea of differing roof heights,
Yep,
and that might be something you want to look
So
at.
the language might say, further attention to variations in roof heights and roof pitches. In other words, in this case, I think this is, which building is it? Building 1,
He's got a point that says variation of roof lines.
roof lines
okay, and where's
would
that?
also be.
Roof elements.
Roof elements would also be good. It's a
For-
little uncertain whether the ridges of building 1 are all supposed to be the same height,
Could be
or
first,
whether some are
second,
supposed to be
yeah.
lower than others,
Yeah,
et
like a
cetera, et
first
cetera.
or second or third floor roofing heights and elements.
Given that we understand that they want to put, you know, the heat pumps and so on, I assume they're going to go in these vast attic spaces interwoven amongst the truss elements.
Renderings that you see.
Maybe we could change that bullet point to a variation of roof lines on the larger buildings could also reduce the overall effective mass.
I think that's good.
And I would add to that, at first, second, and third floor levels.
Okay.
So that it's just not the roof, but something lower like Peter has shown.
First, second, and third, so that'll be talking about building
Well,
two.
Like on,
I don't want to
like
mark
on
this up
Peter's.
particularly, but I think he's talking about, say you put an apron around this, that,
Or if you were to push and pull where you could
yeah, you know, I feel like writing on your thing.
That's all right, you can write on it.
So what happened is,
No worries.
like you come around like this, right, and you go out, and you come up, and you go like that, and you come out here, and go down this side, and maybe.
Oh, I see what
and
you're
maybe
saying.
this floor here would come out a little bit farther, so, it would protrude beyond the wall line there, all that sort of stuff, which of course, as has been said, you know, maybe it's just too costly. But I think if it's thought out in advance, it
It's
doesn't make
needed.
any difference.
It's needed.
You know, you want to be conservative of the building envelope. You don't want to keep just making the building, you know, bloating more and more and more. You have to refine that so you have the building envelope
Yeah.
that's the best fit for the occupants, not necessarily for the HVAC and all that stuff.
No, that comes after,
So-
yeah.
So, Jennifer, I think that you also sort of captured this well in your minutes, because your minutes are different than what George has here, but, and you guys tell me if you agree, but Mr. Peter Haig was invited to share with the committee his views. He showed an image of a large building with variable gables facing the streets to reduce the mass. There was also a variety of window and roof heights. There was some back and forth with the facades, which created the effect of multiple separate buildings joined together instead of one huge building. I just think you kind of captured that well. And then it says, he also suggested an unusual element like a cupola to add interest. But I think that sort of beginning at least captures some of what we're saying more concisely. You did, job well done, Jennifer.
I wonder,
Steve, would we be able to give, like the way Peter has submitted some information, would it be appropriate for us to kind of submit or collect some,
I think that's what we're doing.
like graphic
Oh.
information so that,
Well, I think we're referring to the drawings, and
yeah,
I think they could be presented as part of, in other words, we could just do the revisions and you know, staple this right in there.
I think we need permission to put that in there. I wouldn't-
Uh,
That's somebody
that-
else's
that
drawing.
could be true.
That's somebody
No,
else's
if
drawing.
that's-
I would
that's-
just say
that would
permission.
certainly be helpful when a client asks, like, when you explain these things to someone, that they can't visualize what you're talking about.
But this is somebody's
And
design.
that's interesting about Peter. Well, that's, I think, why
I
Peter
agree with putting it
presented
in,
that.
but I don't think that we put it in with George's minutes, because that was not presented at the meeting
No.
with George.
Okay.
But
what's
today's
presented-
meetings,
Yeah.
minutes, and I think that Peter would have no trouble with us submitting that, because he's already met with the
Yeah.
town
Right,
assistant
yeah.
planner, I mean.
I just would always ask somebody's permission. I'm sure he wouldn't object, but
Oh,
just
yeah,
out
well.
of consideration. I don't know.
He wouldn't have presented that if he didn't
This-
already give the permission.
Was this not what he brought last?
No,
Yes.
it's not, because the ones he had, I was under the impression,
Had retail
was something
stores
that
underneath.
Peter, Joy, and John Kelsey
Okay.
had worked on. It had the mixed use and
Mixed use,
everything in it, you know.
okay, but it had similar, so I think where
And
the
then
lines
when
were
I
broken
brought
up.
up the whole thing on mixed use, I got shot down all over the place.
I know, really, he did. He was
Just to see if that was the one.
This
that-
is all housing, all.
I still am suffering from all the cold. Especially Jennifer
can
saying
see.
Andrew was adamant,
Oh, you know what, maybe not.
She made
Yes,
sure.
adamant.
Added it.
how about insistent?
Yeah.
Oh,
Is that
How
much
about
nicer?
you said it was
I mean,
stupid?
That's what Peter went along with.
I mean, this was so institutional.
This is a new submission,
I have a part.
because this drawing is what the applicant
Determined.
offered, and
All right,
that's what,
see.
whether that was in response or that was something he had. But that's a new drawing, we didn't see that last week.
Yeah.
I think that when it came to, I think what was kind of nice that was missing in, when you talk about the landscape plan comments that are in the minutes that are not on George's, was that it was the emphasis of shade trees over ornamentals.
Peter?
Yeah, he put that in generally, we were,
Okay, I didn't
Andrew
see
was
that.
quite
No, I
specific about on the
wasn't here,
eastern side.
Okay, I didn't, I thought that just that trees could be planted, but I didn't get the shades over ornamentals, because I just know that was a big deal.
Andrew brought those
And-
from Peter.
From Peter,
Yeah.
okay. So that answers that.
After he met with Elizabeth
So
Jenkins.
Andrew brought them.
You know, just going back, Joy had
But I
mentioned that
think
she had
we
some
want
comments,
that-
so
I'm going to
Yeah.
pass
Before
this
we-
back to you.
Yeah.
before we all do all that, maybe we can all incorporate it all.
Yeah, I'm just trying to sort of make sure we get through one so we can sort of put it aside and call it done while she adds to it.
Yeah, well,
Whatever works.
let's carry on, let's carry on. You-
Okay, not for neighbors, okay.
And does George talk about the solar panels? Because our minutes talk of solar panels being hidden.
Yes.
It does speak of it, George does?
It says somewhere it's not visible from, make sure it wasn't visible from the bike path as
Okay.
well.
that was some leverage.
Oh, no, that was a rooftop equipment in general.
Yeah, I don't think he spoke of that. I'm not seeing that he spoke of the, anyone else seeing that.
Well, the bike path is on the north face, essentially, as
But
faces
Jennifer caught our
northwest,
comment,
so-
Jennifer just caught our comment about the solar panels being hidden, or Mr. Hague said solar panels could be hidden. But in the current design, it causes the roof to be in one continual long length covered in panels.
Are there gonna be solar panels on all the buildings?
There are quite few
I
of
don't
them.
think
I don't know.
There they are on building one. Now, building one, that's the south
Yeah,
face, I
and those,
believe, of
and there are
building
all
one.
those solar panels.
There's something.
Building one is gonna be the furthest back on the site.
The bottom, right there in the bottom. Yeah.
So you think it's only on one?
I don't think there's been sufficient study to see how much solar panels are needed to supply this project of this size. So I don't know how much we can count on right now. I don't think they've done a solar study. have they?
No, that wouldn't be enough.
Okay, so there is on, what building is this?
That's building two.
So building one and building two have solar panels.
Well, they have the biggest
What?
contiguous roof areas.
Well, I mean, from what I can see,
Yeah.
those are the two that have, if we're asking.
Presumably people with, on the other, some of the other buildings over time, like the Habitat houses, could sprout all kinds of things. And that's one of the things to look
Where they're
for,
totally separate.
how adaptable are all of these structures in the long run. What are they gonna look like in 25 years? Will people be able to make little subtle changes that will allow the buildings to kind of age in place and really become part of the community? Or are these designs very static and hard to, it's hard to imagine like somebody sticking a window box up on building one or building two, things of that nature, that make people feel it's more of a home and less of an institutional look.
So from what I could see, your minutes got
Like an
incorporated into
HOA
this now,
manual.
from my perspective.
Just one point, I remember now from our meeting, okay? I talked about windows.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? I said the windows are way too big and threw the scale up.
Yeah.
And they all started like 1 foot or less from the ground.
Yep.
Which is a privacy issue, it's a cost item because it all would have to be tempered glass, and it threw the scale totally off.
Yep, that's captured in here.
Makes the right
It
place
says
furnished
casement
too.
windows are not traditional.
Traditional, suggest using double-hung windows and/or variations in window type and size. Large windows appear to drop down to within 12 inches of the floor, which limits privacy in apartments.
Oh,
Scale
sorry, I
down
missed
window
that.
sizes. That's okay.
Yeah,
We caught
sorry,
it.
you caught it.
I would add to that little section there, suggested windows, variations in type, size, and grouping. We talked
Good.
about.
Yep, above he has use of method of grouping windows as appropriate with some irregularity. So there are two bullet points on the
Okay.
windows.
That's, if that was one of the issues we had, was the monotony of
Yep. Right, so I think we
damping those windows across there.
got this.
And so, where do we stand in the bullet list?
I think
think
we,
that's how we
I think we covered it when
Yeah.
because I was going by
Yeah.
by hers and by our,
Okay.
and George's, I think she captured them now together.
Okay, good, that's good.
So I mean, I think any sort of new comments are fine, or additional comments, I just wanted to make sure that we
Now-
covered.
So now it's open to additional comments.
I just wanna make sure Jennifer got it.
If anyone would like to make additional comments, now that we've covered the revisions to the
So, yeah,
original
yeah,
list.
You know, we
from-
never saw it, is that, we never saw it, maybe it's just too early, signage, is there gonna be any signage there?
I would imagine there'd be
Nothing was
directional.
Okay,
It's early.
too early, okay,
They'll put in a sign application, I think.
yeah.
Are we adding these new comments onto his letter?
I would think we would just have them in our minutes, and
No,
hopefully
I-
they would be forwarded to,
I
or
disagree.
comments about his comments.
I thought that we could,
This letter is going to the 24th meeting of zoning
Right,
board
so-
of appeals. Anything else,
so I thought that we would be making these comments in there to go to the Board of Appeals, so it
Yes,
has all of
exactly.
our
I will
comments.
make
on
it-
Yes,
Okay.
that's why I was trying to coordinate them to get it into one document.
okay.
Correct.
Good.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
So to that, if I may,
Yeah.
we talked about site plan and setback. And I'm not sure if I see, there is a section landscaping plan comments. But we had talked about the front buildings, or at least I had, and Andrew, I think.
That's
number
three and
two there.
You
four.
said it, buildings 3 and 4 should be related with the overall scheme of the developments. They are part of it and not standalone. It may be desirable to move the buildings further back from the street to allow for larger shade trees to be planted.
Okay.
Oh, we'll take that.
And then the last comment was about the buildings 5 and 11, the plans for the 7 single-family homes appear to be attractive and in keeping with the community character. I think everyone's fine with those.
Yeah.
Well, I would lose those little side roofs that just creates problems and denies the owners valuable interior space. But that's my opinion. It need not be added.
Yeah, we get bigger fish.
Too much parking.
Steve, do you think there are provisions or requirements for open space versus, we have this sometimes commercial properties where you have to devote a certain amount of open space.
Well, that's a very good question, because we're considering, this is going to the Board of Appeals to decide on the granting of a blanket permit. Those requirements would presumably not apply, but I think you raise a good question in that, where does the project stand in terms of open space? And that would lead to certain things like buildings 3 and 4 still have these porches, so-called, that are on Route 6A. If those just became, the back of the buildings, and it was, the emphasis was switched to the interior, because that's where the social space is gonna be, whether we like it, anyone likes it or not, facing into the parking lot. That's where people are gonna interact, talk to their neighbors.
That's
play.
more for the occupants of the spaces. I
Yeah,
think
right.
as a
Yeah.
town or a community, we'd be looking at the exterior. Would be, our concerns aren't really so much for
We'll be
the
looking at the
occupants,
exterior, and
but,
the project, the job would be so that they didn't look like the back,
yeah.
so the
yeah.
back of these buildings, but that would allow possibly trees and possibly bigger interior space. So I think that comment was made at the meeting I attended before.
Well, they have a porch on the front and the back that seem to be similar depths, so I'm not sure that would,
Yeah, so that's.
To gain that space in
Yeah.
front, we
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean,
push that building, or ask that
What are you gonna
building.
do? I mean, you're gonna keep all your stuff up on the front near where your car's parked. And you're gonna go in and out there. And there was this idea that you would sit
Sit
and
out
watch
there.
activity at the Ace Hardware and the old Howard Johnson's.
Seriously.
Yeah, you'd be less apt to do that if you were
Looking
closer.
at some of the other places, where, again, as you look around at these different complexes, not necessarily low income, but there are places where people, they establish little areas and start to do stuff.
Yeah, where groups-
And I think to make it, I don't want to use the term livable, because people gotta live somewhere, but to make it
More of a
human,
community.
that there needs to be
A
open
pleasant home.
space or opportunities for that kind of thing
Yeah.
to take place, and so.
Yeah, I agree with you, the fact that if that porch-like attitude was on the interior, you would gain that aspect, but at the same time, I'd like to see that those buildings pushed back a little further so that our community or the townspeople, as they
Yeah.
would drive by there, would also benefit for some more depth in there, would give
Oh, yeah.
them some more privacy.
So it didn't look institutional.
Yeah.
But you're talking about making subtle compromises of a couple feet here and there, and that can make all the difference,
Oh,
as we know.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
what comes to mind are worker housing, low income, affordable, attainable
Yeah.
worker housing, and if you look at the history of that, and look around the eastern United States, and you look at sets of houses that were built at the turn of the 20th century, and then you look at houses that were built for coal miners, company housing, that was workforce housing in those days. And there are some places where those types of buildings, and in their row on a street, in a place that's no longer industrial, they've been quite successful. Why is that,
For the very reasons that people are out watching the street and
Mr.
everything.
Medford raised his hand.
Yeah, I just had a question on this. It seems as if the thought is that those porches on 6A are there for aesthetic purposes, not functional purposes. And your thoughts about turning it around and having the porch come out the other side, that end of those houses could be made normal and in keeping with other houses along 6A that don't have a porch but have,
Well, if you look at that plan, I don't know if you see front and back on it, but they are quite similar to each other. They have porches on the back side and porches on the front side.
and the other thing I was thinking was that if you're talking about trying to break up the uniformity kind of thing that they've got, you could have some with porch in front and some without. And
I think, at least personally, my concern was they were too close to
Yeah.
like, you wouldn't want to sit on the front porch facing Route 6A.
Right.
Yeah,
nobody's gonna,
yeah.
even if you go along there, there's plenty of older homes that are on 6A that
Yeah.
have porches.
Yeah,
I've never seen anyone sitting,
but they're deeper back.
but I've still never seen anyone sitting on it.
There's some bungalows and some.
Yeah, but there's not really any housing there. I mean, most of them are offices or.
Yeah, just saying,
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot
they're
of-
not,
I
yeah,
have
they're
neighbors
not.
who sit in the driveway
Places
and watch
for
every car go
People to
by.
sit on the
Yeah,
street.
well, that's a legitimate tradition as well.
Some
Bring an edge
people
along the
do.
street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
somebody needs to sit in their garages, right, where it's nice and cool, open the garage.
6A.
I remember uncles doing that.
Because it's just a small run of townhouses. Had it been the whole
Yeah.
length of
Yeah.
how, with one break in it, then you would have an edge that really meant something and people would
Or
tend
if
to
you had
sit.
more landscaping up front that enclosed that space so that the people behind that landscaping could then at least perhaps feel that was a little bit more private, a little more
Or also
social
just, how loud is it?
space.
He's so dirty.
There's always noise too.
Oh, I can't even
I think the concern was the porches wouldn't be used because they're so close to 6A that nobody would want to sit out there.
No, I'm gonna do that.
And that if,
Speaking.
rather than remove
Yeah, I was
those
gonna do-
porches
It's beautiful
and
up
make
there,
that
I'll
a
tell you.
back,
Yeah, I was gonna
Right
do
now.
that. I
to
was
gain
gonna do
that
that,
extra
speaking of you
depth.
get through it, but I'm like, I'm gonna do
the
it so I
thought
can
is
take
to
my
push
dogs.
those
Would- I would
buildings
take you
back
out.
or
Yeah.
stagger those buildings or push them further back and
Well, I
keep,
mean, this model, which is
So
a
they're not
patio
just
house,
facing
townhouse
one way.
model,
yeah.
is predicated on the street wall and a series of those repeated elements. So if you start to do that, you're changing the whole model, and then it has to be looked at again.
Yeah.
What's it giving to the street? What's it
Yes.
taking away? What are the inhabitants gaining from that?
Yeah.
So it's a whole exercise that has to be addressed in a very organic, holistic way, you know.
Well,
I'm
I guess
finding
the question is-
comments are all very valid, but how on earth does somebody pull all that together without having the overview, without having, you know, the intended objective to figure out what this whole development wants to be. We know it's housing, we know we have a budget, we know we have different types of housing that we're trying to incorporate. And all that was initially, a lot of thought went into what the forms that evolved. Now it's a matter of, as you said, addressing the aesthetics at a much finer level, a higher degree of detail. I mean, any of those buildings could be made beautiful, just playing with the massing,
Yeah, refinement.
dealing with the size of the windows, looking at the size of the trim, trying to decide what it is that it's relating to historically, because clearly they
Yes,
all
yes.
have historic references. They're not just contemporary buildings. They could easily satisfy the Historic Commission with very little work. It's just a matter of taking it to the next level of detail.
But they
For the
feel
whole
that,
town to be throwing their comments in, I don't know how the architect can even begin to think about how they're gonna approach this.
well, I think he said it pretty good, where they
Yeah.
find it unacceptable.
Yeah, so now what? Because
Yeah.
we're so far along in the
Yes.
process. I just wondered, given that there are so many architects on the zoning board and here, and me, and that we could conceivably come together in a professional way and look at this as we would, as if it were our project, and come up with really
Yeah.
focused, constructive, supportive criticisms that could be embraced and pulled into the drawings rather quickly, rather than somebody just feeling like they're being shot down. And I think it's very
Yeah,
destructive.
and I think that's why that George has asked us to kind of, even though we don't have a say in the matter, but for our comments, is to get that in now before they get too far along, where it's like, you see the scale of the site plan and the footprints.
It's
before
very
you-
preliminary
Yeah.
drawing, and
Yeah.
when you look at a preliminary drawing, it's like building a cardboard model, and you just can't see anything that's gone into the thinking behind it, so it has to build, from the general.
But once you get
Obviously-
it to that degree, you think as a designer, it's like, boy, I'd have to rethink the whole thing.
Well, that's possible, but we don't really have that luxury.
I
So
think-
now what?
I think that.
Why
I think,
don't-
you know what,
why
there's a
don't we?
very important point that Joy is making. And it's been said that a camel isn't designed by a committee of a horse, okay? So we don't want a camel. Now, I also remember in the meeting that we had when Peter Hay came in, he offered without charge, which is what they had already done before,
Yeah.
to offer advisory. So maybe Joy would also.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there would be a consistent architectural comment from professionals who know what they do, who love this town, and will benefit this project. Now, I don't know what the mechanism, maybe Meth would have some idea, but here we have two citizens at least, maybe John too, but who would be
Isabel?
very willing to work, so that we don't have a camel.
I have no idea what the mechanism is, but,
Yeah.
Last time we just did it.
but I think starting with George Meservey and Elizabeth Jenkins would be the place to have a conversation.
Well,
Well, there is an architect, right, on this project?
Yes.
That's the point, is that there is an architect who did the whole
Okay.
presentation in the early days to try and get the commission. And yes, there's an architect working on it, but I'm not sure all of the variables that he's, or it, or whatever the organization is,
Yeah.
are taking on board to
Yeah.
come up with these drawings that we've seen.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to be able to at least come up with, take some of the variables away, say, obviously there's costs, that have
Sure,
to be taken into
sure.
consideration, but there's always many opportunities to look at options, to still meet the design criteria that we're trying to achieve. So the only way to start is to roll up our shirt sleeves, the of us that want to play, and we're not charging, so nobody's losing anything, and it would mean that we could at least take on board all of the wonderful comments that have come forward, but they're just random, and they're so.
How do you do that, though? I mean, we're not allowed to dictate the art. They
No,
have
we
to
would
present the
We
architect.
would do it as we did with the state when we did Main Street. Did a lot of detailed drawings and came up with things that we thought were appropriate. And then they decided how much of it they could honor, and they were.
But they would have to want
Yeah,
that.
Of course they would, but still, when you're dealing with something where you're representing an entire town that has
Yeah.
a really strong
Yeah.
vested interest in this particular site, which is a
Sure.
unique site, and the topography alone, I haven't even gotten onto that.
You don't want to
That's so
operate in a
critical to
vacuum.
this.
Yeah, you
No.
wouldn't want to operate in a vacuum.
Right, so,
But I guess what I'm saying, as a committee, all we can do is what we're doing right now.
it's all you can do.
No, but I think your comments are really important, because I think you're speaking from your heart, and I think that's something that they need to hear, that again, it's not criticism of the work that they've
No,
done,
no,
because
no.
they've been very, obviously very vested in it. So I think it's really important as to how you convey that, right, that you,
Very much so.
you know, so that you respect the work that you've done, but let us help you understand what, you know, what we want to achieve, or what we want to see, or how we feel about our town.
Excuse me.
You know, and I think that's really important to get across even in, when you present something, right? I mean, sort of like when I open it and, I don't know, get somebody's attention in a respectful way.
Yeah, the respectful way is exceedingly important.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's that constructive criticism,
Yeah.
right? And we've all, if you've done any kind of design, we all appreciate constructive criticism.
Mhm.
It's what makes design better, and if that's the actual goal.
But that's what I was saying, is rather than words, if there's a way to, like the
Well, we
way
can come
Peter
here
did.
and graphically describe
Yeah,
the kinds of things that we, as a collective who have an investment in this town, that's the most important thing to say. And we give of our time in order for the person who's coming from the outside and trying to deal with all of the variables all at once, including the urban design, which is critical too, have these comments to make, and understanding that there are a ton of other variables to take on board, like the budget. How do we deal with that? Okay, so let's just take this one thing where we pushed and pulled the facade versus just changing materials. How little things that have tremendous cost implications. You know, we help them to evaluate what's going to be possible. But at least they get on board some graphics and some ideas that we have collectively decided would mean something for us as townsfolk.
Did they have any of that when they took on this project?
No, because it was developed, there were only two bidders, and
They
It
were
was
just
what?
given
I'm
carte
sorry,
two
bidders.
bidders who came and presented, and they're trying to
And they
solve
had
the problem of.
feedback of the committee.
They were responding to an RFP though, so the
Yeah.
town put in the
An
RFP a
RFP,
lot of.
yeah.
So are they looking for that kind of input?
No, but if you, I think that's a good suggestion. If you make a recommendation to George and Elizabeth that it might be something that could be offered and put together and would be valuable. It's not critical, it's respectful, it's not a costly thing. I think they could present it.
I think that's why Andrew said in the beginning is, we're in the early hopefully in the early stages of
That's
this.
not the impression I'm getting from
No,
Beth here.
ZBA is, you know, they're
They're ready
heading
to
for a
go.
vote.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's like, excuse
Scary.
me, I
Yeah,
know you're
excuse
ready
me.
to go, but we don't seem to be ready to go on that topic. Have we been, you know, I'm new to this committee, I'm not sure what came in to the committee for review that they got ready to go without that initial input or initial design. I mean, we've had a little bit with the library, where they showed us a little bit of what might look like, you know, the new
And now nothing's gonna be
library,
done
but
for
they
the
said, oh,
library.
that's not the design. I mean, that's pretty early in the stage where you then voice your concerns. But, you know, not being privy to just the last 3 or 4 meetings with this project, you know, how long ago did they come in with that design? Did they get input that's
Well, the minutes will
critical?
show that they didn't come in.
They didn't.
We attended
going to come in.
a
They're
general
only
town
doing this.
presentation where members of the committee were invited. I attended that. I think Tom Coleman was there. And people like the Water and Sewer Commissioner, the Fire Chief, so on and so on. That was the first exposure. I would think that was 2 years ago, maybe, something like that.
It's been
A long time ago.
waiting to go ahead for a year, waiting for its letter from the state that it's It's
financing
the
letter.
EOHLC to proceed, and they're ready. And my impression is they're trying to make a decision on June 24th, whether it's permanent or not. So that's what I was saying, this is your.
So how do you
Yeah, this
avoid,
is,
how do you-
memo.
that's
how do
right.
you avoid this very problem if it doesn't come before us for review, technically? Did it go before anybody?
It doesn't
Doesn't
have
need
to,
to?
because it's a friendly 40B.
Well, it's a comprehensive permit, which is something the town doesn't encounter very often.
Which seems to be the problem,
It is the problem.
right? You just come in, present a design, and you're free from any regulations, any concerns as
But they don't
town may
qualify for the
have.
safe harbor anymore, as we clarified that. So they may be ready and wanting to vote, okay? But with even the comments that we have had already in our minutes, they can't present something that's coherent and consistent with all this without a substantial design. And I would say this is a very good time for interested citizens like Joy and other people to try to get in and certainly make graphic presentations of what else is possible. Because the ZBA needs to have alternatives rather than say, oh, there's all these little points, you know, windows trim and this and that, you know, they can fix that later on. No, I don't agree with that. It's a whole concept of something that's,
Sure, I mean, you have a plan, it's not an elevation, it's a plan that has to be modified and footprints.
Well, it's all based on various configurations as to the number of units. If you look at the whole thing there, you know, there's numerous site plans that show different ways of packing the units in there. But
Get the Alfie they want.
that was at the site plan level, not
And how was
what
that
we're talking about now.
established?
And they decided on this particular one that was presented to us at one time. I think the comment at that point was to take building 2 and have it go, so it had a north face and a south face, and have it up in the back, slide building 1 down to the west a little bit, so the big buildings would be in the back, and I mean, that was the input from, at the time that the committee members, I recall Tom Coleman made this point, he said, wow, it sounds maybe like they should consider that. It's true, there are other ways, but now we're also, it's also true that we're, something's gonna happen there, and are we now at the point then where they're gonna get, you were talking about bids, I assume those were for the design work, not for the actual construction. Nobody knows or has received any information about how much it's actually gonna cost. Do we have that?
Well, that was part of the
I think they
original,
have a budget.
that was
Yeah.
part of the original presentation.
Who
You think
has-
they have a
They
budget?
must have a
Who
budget.
has
And I
budget?
think the,
Town?
one of those groups is a construction company too.
It's a partnership.
Elisa's
Yeah.
organization.
Okay, so they would be essentially design build on a large scale.
And Habitat is Habitat.
And Habitat is Habitat.
Yeah, we'll put that
Partnership.
over to the side.
Yeah, we're not worried about
Assistance
Habitat.
Well, each of the 3 developers has a
Steve, how do you-
phase and a budget for the phase.
Okay, so it has been looked at by actual construction
Oh,
companies.
yes, that was
Okay,
part of the
that's-
whole
yeah,
package.
But
yeah.
Steve, how did they establish the number of units in there? I mean, obviously,
That was part of the RFP.
That was the RFP
but
through
who
Affordable
established the
Housing.
number of
Affordable
units?
Housing Trust.
So,
Who established that number of units? I mean, obviously, if I asked for 5 units on that property, they'd be a lot easier to deal with. If you asked for 400 and something
In order
units,
to make the numbers work, they had
Then-
to come up
then-
with, what, 77 or some?
I mean, I guess I'm just kind of thinking like,
We got
like we
this.
have to get back to this. I mean, I feel like this is what's gonna present.
And I also think you can't,
Correct.
I think the ARC could make a recommendation, but you need to identify specifically who you think should be allowed to make comments, because you'll have everybody in the world contributing their idea. If you want to suggest, this architect, and this architect has made an offer to collaborate at no cost on making this project more Orleans, we suggest that that's an option for you to consider. I think that would be better than just saying you should get feedback from anybody who wants to give it.
Yeah, you know, I think we have to be very specific here because this is sort of our last chance, right? This is
Yeah.
our last chance
Yeah.
to speak, so I think we have to stick to what's
That's
here.
good,
you know.
Jennifer. That's good, Jennifer. Let's do that.
So,
What you said.
how would
So
you put
if you
that?
could add on this memo, you know, one suggestion was presented, I don't think you can insist on it, but you could say, you know, Peter Haig, Joy, I'm sorry, I don't know your last name.
That's okay. Coming.
You could name some people who are willing at no cost to help refine the details, or something to that effect.
And that's a nice way to say it.
Yeah, and I think it should go in that sort of opening paragraph here where you're talking about the development of the townspeople will be glad to have in the community. We have local architects who are willing to,
And we've done it historically, it's, you know, we have a tradition of this, so
Yeah,
it means
so-
that it's not like we're trying to take over.
right,
We just
right,
want to have input.
input.
No, but I think you have to do that in a more generic way. I mean, you can't, as a board, you can't pinpoint a particular
This is
person.
a recommendation from the board.
You
Yes, because
seek out
these-
local architectural advice, not this particular person or that
Oh,
particular.
Rich, I don't agree with you. These specific people have come forth during our board meeting. They are a name, they are a face, they're actual
They're
offers.
volunteering.
It's not just any local architect.
Yeah, it's people who've been
So what
involved in
would
this
the
project or
language
have
be?
something to.
Yes, Rich.
I agree with that, but
We've gotta
I think
take advantage of
it's a
what we're
problem
getting.
saying you're gonna, like, we're gonna recommend a particular person.
Well, I think that they've said that they would like to give, I mean, I don't know, they can say
We
no.
offer.
Well, let's
Yeah.
get,
They can say
let's-
no.
if we may, let's get back to the comments. And we've made these revisions to the comments to try and clarify it. And so, is there language like, in conclusion, the Architecture Review Committee recommends that input be received or consultation with, you know, Joy Cumming,
Local
Peter
architects who
Haig,
historically,
and you know, perhaps the
Yes.
Historical
Yes.
Commission,
Take
something like
advantage
that.
of some of
Jennifer
the
said-
old
Or
ones.
the 40B permit is granted.
so Jennifer, it's
Before.
Peter Haig,
Well,
Joy
not going
Cummings,
to afterwards,
Sibel, I
right?
No,
can't
there's
spell
no
her
issue
last
with the
name for
40B
you, but.
because Safe Harbor is
She's
over,
on the
right?
zoning board.
Now, I wouldn't
Joy
include
Cummings
Orleans
and who
Historic,
else?
because he did
Sibel,
not come up with any
S-I-B-E-L.
design things. He just said
Seibel.
it's inconsistent with the
Well,
town.
that's just an example.
I
You
wouldn't
know,
put that.
propose who they would consult with and when the consultation would take
I
place.
don't agree, because don't get everybody and his brothers and sisters and dogs and cats in here, you know, just
So-
because of completeness.
Very good.
We have specific, useful, helpful,
Yeah.
professional help that's being offered free.
I'm gonna say.
So,
Well, I would say don't-
who would like to propose the list?
I'm saying you would say that they reach out to the local architects who have offered their services
Namely,
and
Namely.
name, you know, the following people have offered their services. And then you could list them rather than saying, we recommend you.
These three, yes.
Yeah.
well, we
because-
recommend you consult with the following local architects who have volunteered their services in consultation,
Yes.
however you want to phrase it, and then you have the names of those people.
Have offered that, yes.
And that would be what we can do at the moment.
I can do that.
We wanna make sure Jennifer
And they
does
could
that.
pick and choose who they, if they wanted to do that, who they felt comfortable with.
Or if they want to do it at all.
Actually, I mean, we're offering it as a kind of team, really, not just
Yeah.
But it's-
pick and choose.
They don't have to do that at all,
No,
right?
no.
Yeah, so.
So at this time, would someone like to propose the list of names?
I think we said Peter Haig, Joy
Okay.
Cummings,
Yeah.
Seibel, I don't know how to spell Seibel's last name.
I don't either. Right?
Okay, but she's.
Okay, well,
Yes,
this-
it's an A.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Has she, No, she's on the zoning board of appeals.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be able to be on advisory board, she's an
Oh,
on
but
board
she has been
member.
advising.
Yeah, but you have to worry about conflicts
couldn't
of interest here as well.
I think
She came to our meeting, she didn't say a word.
I think just because she was just listening, but you have to find out whether or not that is a conflict, we can find that out.
Yeah, that's.
Just find out. If it's a conflict, then
That's like,
an-
that's like us recommending a contractor to do some particular work, sway that work to a particular person. And I think that's problematic.
But we're not being paid
Okay,
for
that
this.
may.
I know that, but it's still,
Okay.
there's certain compensation in that, you know, if it's made known that these certain people contributed their time and effort to a particular project, they may gain that in an advertisement type way, which obviously that's, you know, you want to offer your assistance or your advice or your
Well,
help. But if you gain that in either monetarily or what the word I'm looking for is, in a sense of advertisement for yourself, I think
Like
that's
when
a
we did
sticky.
When we did Teresa's Way, they have plaques that list those of us that worked on it.
But were those
It
private organizations that did that?
was just the
As the
architectural.
Orleans Community Partnership.
It was but we were just an independent design team that sort of helped.
Yeah.
And in my
Yeah.
case, we did that Teresa's Way,
Yeah.
just as an
So no
offering.
committee offered, like directed
No,
them?
just the individuals,
Yeah.
we helped, in that case, that we had a body.
So I'd like your statement that they reach out to local architects who have come to the meetings who are offering their services for free.
But we're not naming them because of conflict. of
And then
interest.
that those 3 or 4,
Oh,
whoever
wait a
would
minute.
reach out to them to say,
I
hey,
don't see why.
Wait a minute. We can mention the people who have offered their services for free.
Yeah.
I am against including Astrid in there, because she's never offered her services for free. We don't know that for a fact. So Kelly, we just don't throw her in, because, we can't.
No, I agree with you, I agree with you, I'm okay with that, I'm
That's
saying
like
she was here,
offering
so whoever had offered, she hasn't
myself.
offered, then no, but for that matter, okay, Peter did offer.
I think Seville did, but maybe
Civil,
there's.
yeah.
But, I mean, whether or not we get clarification on that, I mean, I don't know, like, I mean, I think you can ask, you know, I think you can ask. She was here, she was involved, she had something to say at the ZBA about this, she came to our meeting, so I would say that she's vested and interested.
I know she is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
So-
the
so I mean, I
idea
think, you know,
is
you can
very-
clarify that.
it's a very good
So
idea.
what about everybody else? Is there a consensus that we want to add to the comments this statement that's still a little bit vague? First off, let's decide if we want to do that.
Yes.
Well, like you said, bullet point wise, I think you've listed our recommendations and that they reach out to several local architects, namely X, Y, and Z, who've offered their assistance in helping to implement some of these design elements that we've detailed.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about that?
Do you have something to say? You're
Kira,
just
if I may
stretching.
ask?
I'll let you
Yeah, I
guys
mean,
finish.
I don't see why we wouldn't. I mean,
Okay.
we have architects who, yeah, they're
agree.
invested in
Carol,
the
you-
town.
Oh,
I agree.
They wanna
And-
make
and
sure
Paige.
that it
Okay,
looks
so we
good.
do have a
Like,
consensus.
partnership
That's the
before,
important thing at the
you know,
moment.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Miracle.
When you have crafted that, what I would also include is your strong recommendation that the decision to do, or the voting moment be pushed out long enough to allow all of this to happen.
Yes.
Good point.
And given the importance to the town, pushing that deadline out.
The
further.
ZBA voting moment.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
very important.
Thank you, that's a great point,
Very important.
yeah.
I mean, my concern is that this thing gets built and they say, how did that get through? Or did anybody look at this? Or did anybody have anything to say about this?
That's why we
And I
need
think
a collective
maybe it's
voice.
in the rooting of the bylaw that, where they don't have to come before any of these committees. That's deeply concerning I mean, that's the point of having an architectural review committee. They don't really care so much about small residences. It's these bigger projects that seem to be now taken away from the committee for which it's intended.
Well, that's part of.
And that's a
it's part of
separate
the-
matter.
The overarching state zoning law, we can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
But as we approach 8 o'clock, how should we proceed? should we draft a statement and circulate it, or do you want to hammer out a statement now?
I think that Jennifer was working on that.
You are? Okay, good.
She was listening to us and.
I have something, in conclusion, the Architectural Review Committee has received some very generous design input at no cost from 2 local architects with historic experience. The ARC would be most eager to offer the support of some select professionals to help the developers achieve a more Orleans look. Furthermore, the ARC recommends that, I don't know, the permitting deadline be moved out to accommodate.
I noticed you
More
carefully
design
avoided the
review.
names of Peter Haig and
I'm
Joy
not putting names in.
Well,
They should come back to you and get names, otherwise it'll become.
Yeah.
No, this is something that came up in this committee. It's open, it's public,
Well, then they can find it out by looking at the meeting.
but you don't
That's
have it
true.
in meeting minutes.
I also question.
Well, I haven't read the minutes yet.
Orleans look.
Yeah, that's.
I don't like Orleans look. I think there's a more graceful way of saying.
What's the,
Just, it's just a
In
more
battle.
focused aesthetic
Uh.
language that is compatible with the vocabulary of the town, or something like that.
That would refer to the Orleans look, I take it.
Well, you know, what is the Orleans?
What is,
Well,
I'm
I
sorry,
think
what
it's
is
the,
the Orleans
it's the
look?
historic character of the town. You're.
It's drawing from the resources.
But, you know, if you ask somebody what a Cape Cod home is supposed to look like, as a layperson, they have in their mind what they think that might be.
Yeah, it's
And-
just a generic, I think there's a nice sentence there that sort of implies.
Well, I think you could substitute Orleans, you could substitute what Mefford proposed, and the historic character.
And look,
It's also good design, it doesn't necessarily have to be
Doesn't have to be
historic.
historic.
No, but
Or
you,
shouldn't
you heard what
necessarily
they
be
had to
historic.
say, that they.
Well, I know, so you have
Yeah.
to listen to them, but if
Yeah.
you did a beautiful design that was really well proportioned with appropriately sized windows, et cetera, nicely sided, respecting the topography,
Yeah,
it would not matter if it was historic, if it was a
No.
very well-designed building, and I
Yeah.
think that's what we want
That's
to
true.
try and
It's
So-
support.
it's the refinements that
because
fit in
there's
that.
like this ticky-tacky stuff all over Cape Cod that
So-
looks like, you
but
know.
we've gotten to the point where we have a building that's so large in scale that
We
we're,
have to
the
work on that.
things that Peter and you have offered up are not at
Haven't.
that
Okay.
scale.
Well, how
So
about this?
Let's finish up her comments, so we
The
can.
comment would be, you keep the preface and say that addresses the concerns enumerated or noted in the Architectural Review Committee's comments, which are the same
Good design.
as, we have to be clear that our comments are requesting good design, and if they need help, we recommend that they reach out and get it
Well, again,
before the zoning board of appeals
Well, I think
votes.
one of the nice words people were speaking of before was just sort of refinement. So maybe it's just about the refinement, you know, just sort of
Well,
keeping
these
it
are
like that.
refinements, you
Right,
know,
but
those are
that's
all-
kind of like an
those are all
overall nice
important
word
ones.
to just say refine.
We're not asking them to redo the whole
Because
thing by any means.
regardless what it looks like, it's about refinements, regardless of what the design is.
So would you like to summarize that, Jennifer? Or
I mean,
would you like to go home?
I don't know what we're gonna do without Jennifer, somebody needs to give her.
Andrew,
Senator Moore speak.
you know, I think you're right. I mean, those people have attended the meeting and offered their services. I think they could be referenced by a statement saying that they could reach out to local architects who have attended our hearings and your presentations. They're in the minutes.
There's an implication, though, that's insulting to their architect,
Yeah,
in my
Well-
opinion.
yeah.
You know, all of us have been
In
insulted
conclusion, the
before.
Architectural Review Committee received some very generous design input at no
Yeah.
cost from 2 local architects with
Yeah.
historic experience. The ARC would be most eager to
Good
offer
design experience.
Good design experience.
this support from some select professionals to help address the comments above.
So I think.
Furthermore.
Or who have
I think historic
attended
does-
our meetings, who could then, that way they can look in the minutes and see who attended the meeting and say, hey, there's
I don't know
Peter,
why
there's
we're afraid
Joy.
of mentioning people. I mean, I don't know why we're afraid. I mean, if people have been vested and have bothered to come here and make comments, it
Yeah.
means that they're vested. And I think that's okay to sort of say, this is
Exactly.
who it is. I mean,
Exactly.
they can say no, but, because we're not saying, listen to every Andy architect that comes up to you. I mean,
No, but
but-
what I'm saying is reference those people that they have attended our meetings and have offered their services, and then you could say, you could list the 2 or 3 people who have attended the meetings who have offered their services, not where we're saying, please go see this person, please go see
No,
that
it's just a
person.
suggestion.
I'd like to interject a little bit. What they've offered is to take a lot of the comments that has come forward from the town. It's a chorus of people who have opinions, and try and make some cohesive presentation that allows the architect to see clearly what
The vision.
the vision
The
that
vision.
the town has brought together.
So I think that's, so if I can sort of, I think that's important, sort of get the vision, that's what we're trying to do, right? Sort of collaboration of, they've offered to put into visuals
Well, because that's what we do for a living, so we can take all this stuff and bring it together in a way and in a format that is digestible and therefore implementable, because otherwise this is gonna just keep going and going
This
and
is a-
going.
Right,
This is a
right.
very helpful way, and I would hope that any architect who gets that, even though he's a professional, would consider it a help, Jennifer, rather than an insult.
Yes.
I was also at the town meeting, as all of you were, where Bob Wilkinson stood up about
Yes.
the fire station.
Fire
He said,
station.
this is ugly. And later on, some people said, well, that was insulting to the architect. Well, goodness gracious, if they're not gonna present it, hello, if they're not gonna do a good job, as architects and do something that is beautiful, well, listen, people can react. Jennifer, it's not an insult. It's not an insult.
Well, okay, if they don't take it as an insult,
If you were a dress
that's great.
designer, you created an awful dress, and somebody said, oh my God, Jennifer, that's awful.
Yeah, I've left. I told them
Right.
they can find someone else.
They would say, what do you know
I
about
don't
dresses?
I don't allow my clients to talk to me that way.
Right.
Sorry.
That's right.
Well, I don't think you have, I understand you're trying to soften the language.
Yeah. My understanding was they didn't respond so well to the feedback previously, and you want a good response from them to facilitate this to happen. So I'm trying to find a way that you
Agree.
don't tell them their design is bad, that you're telling them there's an opportunity for them to get the best result.
Yeah.
Well, let's say I'm their architect, and someone comes to me and says, I hate your design, it's horrible, everybody thinks it's not this or that, or not any of this. And you would say, all right, what is it constructively that you would, recommend
Be
to
different.
us to
Yeah.
get it where, because ultimately it needs to be approved, but it doesn't need to be approved by us, but, they could take it or not take that advice, but not for me to take it as an insult. I'd say, well, tell me what your recommendations are.
Exactly.
And I think that's
That's-
what you want them
Well,
to
that's
do, right?
professional. That's the professional
Yeah.
way to behave,
Yeah.
you don't take it personally.
Yeah, I'd say, well, what do you have a problem with?
So
As good
let's,
as we
so
can.
Jennifer,
Yeah.
where are you at? Let's try to wrap this up for you. Like, where are you at?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Can you just read it back to us where you
Yeah.
are?
In conclusion, the Architectural Review Committee received some very generous design input at no cost from 2 local architects with historic experience.
Okay, that's
I don't know
good.
if you need that.
No, just-
The ARC would be most eager to offer their support to help address the comments above and achieve the vision of the ARC. Furthermore, the ARC recommends permitting be delayed to allow adequate refinement of the designs.
I think the historic experience is not something that we want.
Okay.
But I think we should recommend that they reach out
Two.
to reach out to the local architects who have offered their service.
You could put that in, instead of the eager part, when you finish, you could say, the ARC recommends that you take advantage of take advantage of what would you say?
That offer
Of this offer, take advantage of this offer.
Of the local architect's offer?
Yeah, they've offered their services, correct?
who have offered their
Who have
services.
offered their
May I address
services.
the committee? Why is there reluctance to use the two names specifically?
Well, we're getting there, we'll get to the name part.
I think we're just trying to go.
We'll add the names
No, okay.
at the end, I think.
I think once you say local architects, I think you can then say their names.
You
At
know,
the end,
i.e.,
yeah,
for
at the end.
example,
Don't you think could they
Not-
contact George for the names?
No,
Why not?
because this is our committee meeting's recommendation. Why do they have to go to George to get it? I think you have,
Because
you,
he's the lead.
you don't like the idea, let's put it this way.
we want to say, for example, Peter Haig, Troy Cummings.
Why do you not like the idea?
I don't say
Because-
for example, I mean,
I
like
don't
they've
think it's for
offered.
example.
Would
They're
say
not
specifically
accountable to you,
for
they're
reference
accountable to
or-
the ZBA or Elizabeth and
It's
George.
really, we are interested in streamlining the process. This is a mess, and it's a mess because
Yeah.
there's so many voices. All I want to do is bring the voices together and use professional experience to try and
Right.
present to the architect some cohesive
Yeah.
ideas that might make the town a little bit more supportive of the designs.
So
So
how-
just stop,
Go
stop
ahead.
there and like allow Jennifer to sort of put that into
I
words.
didn't get that.
I know, but that's why I wanted to give you the opportunity, because it's like I think, Joy, if you kind of want to repeat what you said.
Sure, I'd be happy
Okay.
to, I'd be happy to. I think the architects who've come forward are making an offer to try and make the multitude of opinions and reactions to the designs a little bit more cohesive by bringing together these ideas into a single voice. Using experience
Yeah,
that they've
sorry.
had, 40 years or whatever, of doing this work. So it makes it easier for them to be able to understand what people are saying and look at the problems and see if they could suggest
Yeah.
solutions that might help in,
Understanding what
Yes.
we're being.
Identify
offered.
solutions.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they would just look at this and say, well, what exactly do you want us to do?
Yeah, it's what's called design overload, it's just too much information, and what's relevant, and what's not, you know?
Mhm.
Was it
And
great for somebody?
ambiguous, certain ambiguity and.
Yeah.
um,
Thank you for leaving here.
I think I might leave you guys to this.
You're excused.
There's not much I can contribute.
No, you've been very helpful, to say the least.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you all for your
Thank you, sir.
work.
I
So,
imagine
I
we'll get
hope-
feedback from the town as to what we can and cannot do legally.
So I'm going to just let Jennifer finish that, and then she can just read it back
These
to us.
architects have offered to try to take the multitude of reactions to the design and bring the ideas together into a single voice to make it easier to identify solutions.
In a
The
cohesive
ARC
way.
recommends you take advantage of their offer of services. And further recommends permitting be delayed to allow adequate refinement of designs. You want the names in this or not?
I think the name should go.
I know how Andrew feels.
All right, so
I know how
let's
Jennifer feels.
Why don't you just say
let's
see
just take a vote.
previous?
Just
Take a vote. Yeah, would you like to see names in there?
I don't mind seeing.
Whoever doesn't mind seeing names, raise their hand. I'm okay.
Okay,
If you're okay with
yes to
names being
names.
listed.
Oh, I
Yes.
am.
Yeah, I think we should
Yes,
listen.
You
to
have a solid majority.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine. I just want to make
That makes
it,
sense not to.
Now, the manner in which you make that recommendation, you could reference previous meetings where they can
No,
look
I mean,
at
That's
the
what I'm
min-
gonna say, 2 architects, and then I'm gonna name them.
You want- Yeah,
Two
I
architects.
mean, that's the whole point of naming names,
So and so and
not to
so and
go
so.
back and reference. I think, you know,
Have offered their
Two
services.
local architects, Joy Cummings and Peter.
you know,
Hey.
and I think part of why we're saying that is because
Well,
they're
no,
presented to
recommend
us,
you
right?
take
I mean, part of
it
it.
Oh, yes.
But I know, but they,
I have
because
no
that
idea.
way,
I
the
I
major
agree with you
reason.
100%.
Yeah.
so should that be in there, Jennifer? The reason why we're recommending them is because of presentations of what could be that they've shown to us, that we feel are in line with our,
Specific
vision.
architects who
Our
have
vision,
made
yeah.
presentations.
that we think are in line with the vision of where this project, we'd like the project, or like to see the project at home.
I don't think you need it,
Oh.
but you could.
I'm worried,
What do
you
you-
know? Yeah, I'm worried about the recommendation. I think
Well,
it's
I mean, it's-
important that they reach out to those people, but as a board, to recommend
George,
any
if-
contractor, any service of any other person, it's not our place.
Well, you know, I mean, I
Well,
look at
maybe
this,
recommendation isn't the right word. Maybe we just use a different word.
I mean, they've offered their services, it's part of the minutes. You could reference that, they could do
Yeah,
their
Well, why don't
homework.
you
You're
say you
really-
might just consider reaching out?
Or
Well, we
To
do
those
have
who
to
have attended our meeting, who have,
Consideration.
Yeah, just,
to
consider
two local
rather than
architects who have
recommend-
attended our meetings.
consider rather than recommendation.
Consider.
Consider rather than recommendation.
consider
Yeah.
reaching
I mean,
out.
I mean, that's really what it is, a consideration.
That's right.
We'll visit you in jail if anything goes wrong.
I mean, you know, if they
Well,
say you
well,
can't do
well-
that, then she'll take it out. I mean, you know, if it's a,
I'd rather do that than not give them, I mean, it'd be great for them to reach out and ask for assistance, because obviously they're having some troubles.
Well, and it might be even more so if there's not some kind of conduit for getting all
Well,
these
like you
ideas put
guys should
together.
become a surrogate, you know, I'm worried about that
I think
sort
we
of
should just
situation where
Make our,
you're the surrogate
That's
for
why I'm worried
the
about the
architecture
names.
review
I'm worried
committee
for
who doesn't
them
have
as well.
purview over that
They're gonna
project.
be accused of.
Yeah, I
don't know.
I see
understand
what
it
you're
that
saying.
way.
You know,
So
we
you wanna
can't
revisit
dictate an
that?
architectural style. All we can do is say, hey, we suggest that you reach out to people who've attended, two local architects who have attended our meetings, they're in the minutes, that they can reach out to those people to help quantify and make these comments more cohesive,
The
or
only issue
or
that
words to your
I see
effect.
with this sort of, you can reach out if you want to, is that if we actually are going to do something that's constructive and really is helpful,
Yeah.
we need to sit down and do it.
I mean, if you guys can,
We need, you know, we can't just wait for somebody to randomly call us.
no,
because-
that's why
Right,
I think,
and I
I
think-
think if you guys were to reach out to them as private citizens, private professionals,
But I think we give them the reason, if we put it in our minutes and
Yes,
say
yes.
it positively, you know?
Yes.
So they're not just coming out of the blue and saying, well.
since we can't do it, we recommend that they reach out to
We
local
ask
architects.
consideration of them as a board,
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
that's all.
yeah. I mean, we can't do it, so we'd like
We
to
ask
offer
them to
that
consider.
someone else can.
We can't appoint them, we don't appoint people.
Well, we can't give design, we can give
So we're going
generalities
back.
design-wise.
in time, and we're
No.
saying now that we don't want the names?
No,
You
we
wanna-
already settled that, Steve.
that's what
Okay,
I'm
we
saying.
do want the names then. Okay, I want to just be very clear
We
about that.
all voted on it 5-0.
So
Maybe it
we,
was 7-0, I don't know.
so we put the names
It was
in,
seven.
that's the important thing. That's all we need to know at this time.
I'm being more
If
of a
George has a
devil's
problem, I'm
advocate.
sure he'll let you know.
Oh, don't be rich.
They will.
Who's on board?
This goes with you.
I'm a little worried about offering up names of
No, I don't.
service
Well, if it was your brother-in-law or your
Yes,
kid or something like that,
yes.
then that would be a no-no.
Yeah,
But in
Say the
this
no or
case,
you?
No, it's just see you, it's a
uh,
demonstration.
just mentioning that they've offered
I
up
think,
their.
I think we're on pretty firm ground, and again, if
You see,
we get
Thank you.
a call from town
Okay.
council saying we can't do
Not
that,
really.
then
You
they'll
see
try
where
to-
I'm coming from, I don't
Oh,
want
yeah, no, I
to.
understand entirely, you have to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
You don't
Be
want
very, very careful that
But at the same time,
you
you do,
have,
So,
and bring it to the next meeting.
you have no fiduciary,
No, no,
not
it's
fiduciary,
okay,
you have
no.
no financial, is what I'm saying, interest in saying Joy Cummings or
Okay, Jennifer,
Peter
since you haven't
Hay.
seen this,
You're not gonna gain financial.
No,
So that's the important bottom line.
We're still on air.
but it's like, what if I recommended your brother-in-law or something?
One of them is, you can follow.
Yeah, so we have to now consider a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second it.
Wait,
There were a number of us rushing,
Okay,
rushing.
Okay.
wait for Andrew to-
yeah, I think we gave it a good thrashing.
Oh, she
Okay,
was in the middle of
we're
this. Okay,
we're
I'll scan
adjourned
it.
at 10 after 8, off the...